Alright, so we are in 2.5 literal equations and formulas. Let's look at the solve it. You're ordering pizzas and sandwiches. You have a budget of $80. How many sandwiches can you buy if you buy 4 pizzas, 5 pizzas? Explain your answer. So if you have a budget of $80, and you have 2 different variables moving, you have 2 different variables, how are you going to find out how many sandwiches you could buy if that's also changing along with the pizzas? So let's look at our problems. First things first though, literal equation. It's an equation that involves 1 or 2 more variables, such as the first problem. 10x plus 5y equals 80. The equation 10x plus 5y equals 80, where x is the number of pizzas and y is the number of sandwiches, models the problem in the solve it. How many sandwiches can you buy if you buy 3 pizzas, 6 pizzas? So, here's the equation here, where x is the sandwiches, the number of sandwiches. Oh no, x is the number of pizzas, sorry. And y is the number of sandwiches. So, to find out how many sandwiches I can buy, I'm going to solve for y. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to treat 5y like a constant. I'm going to treat 10x like a constant because I'm solving for y. So therefore, I'm going to get 5y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 10x on both sides. And that leaves me with 5y equals 80 minus 10x. And, like we did in the previous sections, I'm going to get 1y. So I'm going to divide by 5. So y equals, and remember the butterfly, I'm going to do the butterfly now. 80 divided by 5 minus 10x over 5. Alright, and then we know that 80 divided by 5 is 16, and this is going to be 2x. So now we got our equation. This is for sandwiches. So they're asking how many sandwiches can I buy when I'm buying 3 pizzas and 6 pizzas. So that means that I'm going to plug these values in for x. So y equals 16 minus 2 times 3. And so y equals 16 minus 6, so y equals 10. So at 3 pizzas, you can buy how many sandwiches? 10 sandwiches. Let's look at with 6. Y equals 16 minus 2 times 6. So y equals 16 minus 12. Y equals 4. So 6 pizzas, you can get 4 sandwiches. So that's how we did it. We treated 10x like a constant. We solve for y. And when we solve for y, we have to use the butterfly trick. And then we got y, and then we plugged in our values for x. So, why don't you try the got it here. Solve the equation for m. So that means that you're solving for m. Like in the problem when we solved for y in terms of x, we solved for y. This one, you're solving for m. What are the values for m when n equals those values? Alright. So, number 2. We want to solve ax minus bx equals c. We want to solve this for x. So, you notice that there's an x here and an x here. So therefore, this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the distributive property. So in fact, we're going to factor, which is what you're going to find out later. So if there's an x, that means x times, so I'm going to switch it around first. I'm switching around, I'm using the commutative property, right? Because I can do that. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an x out. Then I'm going to use my parentheses. X times what will give me x times A? A. X times what will give me X times B? B. Because when you look at it, when you distribute X times A minus B, it's going to be X times A and X times negative B, which is minus XB. So now what we want to do is X times the quantity of A minus B. This is being multiplied. So what we do is we're going to divide by A minus B. Because this is being multiplied. Because it's being multiplied, we can divide. Therefore, that cancels out, so X equals C over A minus B. That's what we got. First, what we did is we used the commutative property, then we factored it, we used the distributive property, and then we solved for X. So, I want you to try to got it, which is negative t equals r plus px. I want you to solve for x. Solve for x. Negative t equals r plus px. Alright, problem 3. Problem 3 asks, what is the radius of a circle with a circumference 64 feet? Round to the nearest tenth. Use 3.14 for pi. Alright. So first of all, we gotta look at what circumference is. Circumference is c equals pi d, or c equals 2 pi r. So let's see what information we're given. We want to find out what the radius is when the circumference equals 64. So therefore, since c equals 64, we're going to plug that in. So 64 equals 2 pi r. And pi is a number. So therefore, this is a constant right here. So, since 2 pi r is being multiplied to r, what we're going to do, 2 pi times r. To get rid of 2 pi, we got to divide each side by 2 pi. So therefore, we're left with 64 over 2 pi equals r. But what we can do is we can actually simplify that. 64 divided by 2 is 32 over pi equals r. And that's what we are left with. That is our answer. Now, this is when we're plugging in numbers. You can actually, what you can do is solve symbolically first. This is what I mean. So, the book shows you c equals 2 pi r, right? They want you to solve for r in terms of variables first. So this is what we're going to do. 2 pi r is still a constant. That's being multiplied to r. So to get rid of this 2 pi r, we're going to divide each side by 2 pi. Therefore, we're left with c over 2 pi equals r. So you can see it also over here in the textbook. You divide by the coefficient of r, which is 2 pi. Alright. So, let's go over. So why don't you try to got it? What is the height of a triangle that has an area of 24 inches squared and a base of 8 inches squared? Alright, so last problem. 4. Alright. So you can see the monarch butterfly is the only butterfly that migrates annually north and south. The distance that a particular group of monarch travels is shown. It takes a typical butterfly about 120 days to travel one way. What is the average rate at which a butterfly travels in miles per day? Round to the nearest mile. So, there is a formula, d equals rt, where d is the distance, r is the rate, and t is the time. So, you can see here in the picture that the distance that the butterfly travels is 1,700 miles. The time it takes is 120 days. So we want to find the average rate. So we're finding r. So let's solve this symbolically first. Alright, so r times t. We're treating d and t like constants. So therefore, I want to use the commutative property first. So I'm going to switch these. And I want to get r by itself. if t is being multiplied to r, to get rid of t, I want to divide. So therefore, d over t equals r. D over t equals r. But, like we said, we already know d, which is 1700, so we're going to plug everything at 1700. And then t, the time it takes, is 120 days, equals r. So 17 divided by 120 is about 14 miles per day. So the average rate, the butterfly child's per day, is roughly 14 miles per day. So why don't you try to got it down here?